fourth episode of Lab Talks with Aptos, the podcast that explore various facets of education and career paths. I'm your host Gaurav Sharda, and today we delve into the intriguing world of pursuing PhD in India. What does it entail? What opportunities and challenges does it offer at present? So let's find out. To shed light on this topic, we have a very distinguished guest with us, Ms. Devalina, a PMRF research scholar from Department of Zoology from University of Delhi. So, hi Devalina, welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you on this
Same
panel.
here.
So, to begin with the podcast and just provide an overview for our listeners about the scope of pursuing a PhD in India.
Right. Pursuing a PhD in India, it comes with its unique blend of challenges and possibilities. And getting a PhD degree widens your scope overall. So mostly ones who want to get into academics, build a career at being a professor at graduate or higher degrees, either them or the ones who want to build a career in research, get into a research program, become a scientist. So these are the primary candidates who get into doing a PhD program, and this is true for almost all the disciplines, so from science, humanities, literature, all of them. So the main aspiration of the candidates are these two motives.
Okay, but like we have been also observing this trend that mostly the ones who do their PhD majorly go into the academics parts and
Right.
and the rest one are going into the industrial part,
Mhm.
not more into the corporate level, but majorly in the academics and the industrial level.
So I think it can also be that might be because of which institute that the PhD
Yes.
students are you're
Yes.
considering from.
Yes.
So if you are seeing at a university level, so since I am from the University of Delhi, and students who are here, they are mostly the ones who want to actually get into academic level. So
Yeah.
they decide to stay within the university.
Yes.
The ones who are targeting to get into industry, maybe the ones like the biological instruments
Pharma
specifically,
industry, biopharma industry.
so they tend to remain within the research institute level,
Yes.
and because it's an easier way for them to get into those things from that institute.
Yes.
So where you see the major students diverting is it might be particular to the university or the institute that you are considering
Yes.
your point of view.
I have observed even after this pandemic era, there are more and more research labs opening up in hospitals, clinical
Right,
laboratories,
right,
diagnostic laboratories
Right,
as well.
right. So many hospitals also have their own R&D units,
Yes.
and they also have their PhD. But again, the PhD programs there
Yeah.
will be more centric towards patient care,
Yes.
the ones which have output in the hospital industry sector. So again, from which place you are pursuing a PhD, that will depend on what is your ultimate career goal that you are seeing yourself.
Exactly. So that's fascinating. Can you just elaborate the potential benefits for a candidate who is pursuing a PhD in India?
So definitely as PhD scholars, we get to participate in doing cutting edge research, and maybe I'll be a little specific to a science, that's my field,
Yeah, no
right?
problem.
So apart from being able to contribute to the overall knowledge pool, I think one personal growth that everyone in India, every PhD scholar in India goes through. So we are doing good science, I believe. We are participating in cutting edge science, but I think we are a lot more creative
Yeah.
because of so from the challenges that we actually face, our creativity is instilled, and I think a lot of little innovations and inventions
Yeah.
come
That's,
from that.
that's a major part of research.
Yes. So we are trained in a way where we reach our ultimate. We have ambitious questions, but our training is such that we reach there by in a much more creative way. So that is one thing that we are very independent. We are working in a very independent setup. We are not guided by strict instructions, or we do not have someone who is exactly giving us a solution for every problem, which many consider it to be a limitation of doing research in India, but then that's a lot of growth opportunity there. And apart from that, if I talk to professionally, if I speak, so I think this Indian mind is it has a lot of scope when you want to get into postdoc studies. Like if people are getting into research, they want to get into postdoctoral studies, and you can, anywhere you go, you will be able to fit in any sort of lab setting, because you are not just trained in one field over here. Everything over here, you have to actually rely on multiple labs, you have to go to different places to get different things, and that way you build a network, and in that process you learn a lot of things.
Okay.
So that sort of skill set is really in demand. If I talk of India, definitely, but even abroad, if you want to move for an experience, as far as I've heard from my senior, this skill set is very much appreciated over there. So
Okay.
they are believed to have an edge over there in compared to the others who might have already done it in a very nice setting, very resourceful setting. But apart from that, to manage within the limitation of your resources, that's a skill that I think scholars in India are very equipped with. So
Okay.
that's one big plus. You are growing that way. And the conventional pluses of you get a good job, it's easier for you to manage at different challenging settings. So if you're getting into, say, if you're getting into an industry, because in India, to get in a PhD scholar in India, to get things done, they have to talk to they have to deal with so many kinds of people, that if you want to get into an industry, and there you have to, say, convince people about the benefits of your research or work, because you've already been through that dealing process, you're familiar with what sells. So that sort of skill set also you're going to apply when you're getting into industry, or if you're getting into academics, which comes with its own challenge. But in India, you are actually also required to pursue some sort of teaching along with side by side with your degree. So that sort of experience you're also getting during your PhD. So when you go into a professional field of getting into becoming a teacher, you're already trained to some extent and you have an edge. So we are just not focused in doing our research, we are also trained in that process of doing multiple other things. So
Yeah.
you are overall very equipped for your next step of the
Yeah.
career.
So you can even part your knowledge to the next generation.
Right.
And
So that everything, all those trainings comes along with the degree that you're pursuing.
And as you mentioned, I think like a postdoc, which you have
Mhm.
mentioned. So we know that PhD itself is a consuming process. The complete time for a PhD, normal PhD, is 4 to 5 years to get it completed. So what actually motivates those PhD scholars to go for a postdoc? Like investing more time in laboratories and doing more research. So what is the major motivation of after a PhD to get into a postdoc?
It's the love for the subject.
Okay.
So I would say, so I wanted to always get into academics, so that's why I'm in the university setting, and I never really thought that, when I was used to think like it's already a long degree and I do not want another degree, I just want to get into something more stable that I can keep doing on. But as I am reading more of my subject, it's definitely a subject of my interest. I feel like it's not really so you don't really get to count the years when you are following a passion, because you forget the count. So while you are doing that, you also find that I want to do more on it.
Yeah.
But then your degree is a time bound manner, so your passion for the subject is not over despite a degree being over. So that passion is the only thing that can encourage you to pursue in postdoctoral studies.
So I think one point is the love for the subject and the passion you have for that particular topic.
Definitely.
And I think second is it also gives you an edge over other PhD scholars. That if you are a postdoc scholar, probably you'll getting more and more opportunities in your career perspectives.
So again, I think so. One thing is that we have it's an increasing number of the students who are participating in the doctoral program. That number is increasing in the country, which is also good. And there are reasons because of which the people are also getting more and more motivated to pursue it. But if someone wants to, so if I have to get into, say, academics, someone who has a PhD degree and someone who has a higher qualification, so people do prefer someone having a higher qualification, but it might not necessarily be that one who has a higher qualification is also a good academician. But if you want to get into research line, so that over there people really prefer someone who has a postdoctoral degree, because they expect them to be more trained, and you have also worked in a different lab. You actually cannot pick the same subject as your PhD for your postdoc. There has to be some twist of the story for it to be a different degree. So people also see that you are versatile, you have worked in two different fields,
Yes.
and everybody wants someone who can work on their field. You might not just be restricted in your career to the same field you were pursuing your PhD in. So one who sees that this person has participated into multiple, has worked with multiple research group, it's also more convincing for them to believe that this person will be good in contributing to my question. So that way people prefer someone
And
having
even
a
your
higher-
knowledge will be more diversified.
Definitely. The
Diversified.
techniques and everything, you will be more
Exactly.
versed if you have worked in different labs answering different questions. So people prefer those sort of candidates definitely in research.
Okay.